And as we know, in community sessions, we discuss matters that pertain to all of us as members, as regards our goals, activities, and performance in the community. And usually it's meant to be an interaction, not just sharing knowledge from one person's perspective and asking questions after. This is meant to be deliberation. So, but given the participant number that we have here, I am afraid if this will not be what they call like preaching to the choir. You know, if you're talking about community sessions, about, let's say, people should be coming to attending the meeting more, and we are telling the people that always attend the meeting in the first place. So the message is probably not getting to the people that should hear them. But nonetheless, we'll move on. So from the task I was given is to share, like we should talk about the last community survey that we had and the report that was submitted on it. So that's why I brought up this this topic: findings, context, and feedbacks, debriefing and review of the Biosphere Survey Report 2024. So I will be asking questions as I go on with the presentation, and but basically this slide is just to guide the talk and to refresh our memory about the findings in the report. All right. All right. So we are talking about the Biosphere members' skills and participation assessments of reports. This was a study that was conducted in December 2024 in the community, when we shared Google form like link to members to fill certain information that relates to their participation and the skills, and how Biosphere can come in to help, and also be assessed by the participation, level of participation in the community. The findings of the study was published in May, and that was about 2 months ago, and it has been shared. And I want to use this moment again to thank the Synthesis team who designed a very beautiful summary for the report. So this is a cover. This is what the cover of the summary file looks like. It is shared on our group page. People that have not gone through the report can at least read that abridged version, and the full length report is also on the WhatsApp page as well. So for people that have not gone through it, so I expect that at least a sizable number of people here have gone through the report. So, but one thing that is remaining is that we have not discussed and we have not had feedback on from the work. So that's the gap on in completing the life cycle of that study as it should be. All right. So tonight we're going to be talking about it. But I've just created your indulgence to to share the report, the some information about the findings and all the context, just like how I mentioned at the beginning. Now, what was the goal of the survey? The goal of the survey was to assess the participation, the level of engagement, as well as the skills of members. We are not assessing competency. We are trying to map skills instead. We want to gather how strong we are as a community. So basically what we were doing was trying to understand the status of the community as well as the needs of the community. So we were not trying to tell that these people that said they were good at writing, how good were they? That was not the kind of assessment we did. It was basically status assessment and needs assessment. And it's important for any community that wants to progress. Needs assessment is important. And it's very important, especially for Biosphere, when giving the goals, dimensions, and visions of the community, in fostering the capacity, the research, technical, and all-round career development among members. So it's important to know how we are engaging with the programs in the community, as well as the peculiar needs that the community can achieve towards. All right, so that was what the survey was meant to do, and I hope it was able to feel a part of that objective. Hello? Is am I still audible?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right, thank you. So, so I will be sharing what I can say findings and context from the survey, at least to get everybody up to speed about the report, including those that have read it a long time ago. So now, the main findings from the study, basically about 72 members submitted response to the questionnaire. 72 people out of about 127 that we had in the group at the time of the study, that amounted to 57.1 response rate. It was a particular comment that although that the 72 people that answered the questionnaire were kind of gave very useful insights, the response were very diverse and showed that the sample was actually representative of the community. But if you had more numbers, it probably could had maybe some missing context. So it's still very important to encourage members to please, anytime we have in-house survey like this, please let's endeavor to attend to such surveys. It helps us gather the insights. All right, and in gender representation among respondents, so about 58% of the respondents were male, that's 7.5 were female. And I summarized it, created two different categories while summarizing the characteristics of the members. So the first one was the tenure category. The tenure category was just coined based on the duration of membership of members, how long they have stayed in the community. So those, based on the data that we collected, those that have stayed for up to 1 year, less than 1 year, were classified as new members, and they were 40% in the survey. And old members, those that have spent more than 1 year in the community, were classified as old members, and they were 60% in the survey. So I also created another category there, based on the look of the survey. So local members and the global members. All right. So local members are those that are in Nigeria. We are the founding nation of the community. Global members are members of the community. Either they are from Nigeria, who are non-Nigerians, or Nigerians that stay in another country. So we can start those as global members. So about 28% of the respondents were classified as global members, while 72% were local members. So that means a lot of the respondents were still came from Nigeria. And in terms of the pursuits, 61% were graduate students, and 1/3 were working class, and undergraduates only had 5% representation. So I'm not so sure. I think this might translate to what it will look like on a larger scale. But it seems that graduate students were heavily represented among Biosphere members. Now, so interest and suggestions from members. So we gathered response. We prompted people to share what they want to see about Biosphere Engage, maybe topics that are not being addressed, or things that the committee can keep on focusing on. And so people submitted response, and their responses were subjected to textual analysis. I mean, trying to find the words and all, to break the words apart and see the length sentences and everything, summarize it. And we're able to get these keywords out of it. So so I created this a word hat from the keywords that are in people's responses. So that's the areas that the community can pivot, can look into towards. So there are people who, and it's very diverse, right? There are some people who focus on, okay, let's focus on capacity development, capacity building, learning skills, in-house training. Whereas there are some that are suggesting topics, areas that we can look into, like medtech, artificial intelligence. Some people suggested even like moon care. Some suggested that, okay, probably the next thing that we can start joint projects with NT. Some people said the key skills like, okay, statistical analysis might be the next thing to learn. Bioinformatics and another look at vibration medicine and many skills. Some people ask for skills like poster design. So these were all the at least a summary of what people suggested in terms of key areas that we can look into. So the question I just have here is that I don't know if anyone can share if we have seen any of these ideas being implemented since the start of the year. I mean, we spent half of the year. We've spent like half of the year. So, and this was a study that was conducted in December. So it's enough time to see whether some of these have been implemented. So I don't know if anyone is interested. Or should I take the question at the end? I will still ask anyway. Yeah, can someone answer me? No, it's a community session actually.
Okay, good evening. Let me just add one or two. Ibrahim, can I go on?
All right, thank you. Yes,
Yeah,
please go on.
had some trainings, and then we have the ongoing budding researcher workshop program currently. Then, yeah, other workshops are listed in the roster, so I think there is more diversity. That's all I can add for now.
Thank you very much. So I didn't want to jump that probably what the survey was what informed the Body Researchers Program because that has been kind of aligned. Well, please, you can come. Yes, please.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, thank you, Ibrahim. I was just already thinking about what Abdulafiz mentioned in the chat box. So just wanted to kind of clarify what undergraduates probably would mean here, because I feel like very few undergrads fill the form, and then undergraduate is like a major keyword alongside capacity building and statistical analysis. So I was just wondering, like, the undergraduates here, maybe you could also comment on what it probably means. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Undergraduates, well, the creation of the word hat was not well, it sometimes it works with word frequency, but sometimes it also goes with aesthetics. So there is no a particular rule that it follows in generation this. So how big the the text is sometimes might be just be how close to the top it is, not necessarily how frequently the words was repeated, something like that. So yeah, but I think it was suggested but I think undergraduates suggested that okay, they should be carried along in the community. Like they should be specifically mentioned. Now we talk about graduate schools, we talk about open as a researcher and all those stuff. Probably a lot of undergraduates don't see themselves, they see it as future things and their immediate needs might be neglected or glossed over in the process. So probably that's why someone suggested, okay, they should focus on undergraduates because I could see that some people mentioned that where under that what should undergraduates. So I think the time is just for inclusion, basically. So Ablafiz, I don't know if that answers it.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please go on.
Yeah, thank you. I think that answers the question. in seeing the word arts, the first thing that came to my mind was the like a representation of the different categories of individuals that actually put in this kind of, these keywords. And that's why I asked the question with respect to the undergraduate thing, being one of the, the big words there. So it would have been really nice if the different categories of individuals based on whether you're an undergrad or a postgrad or a working class, those different categories of individuals linked with each of these words, something like that. So, but I guess based on what is seen here, it seems a lot of undergrads want undergrads to be taken care of, to also be considered in most of the activities in the community. But yeah, I get the point. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So I think, like I said, I think the word is just about inclusion. And like I said, this word hat generation was not following a particular rule, right? So probably work with aesthetics and everything. So at least these are the keywords. And I think it's something we can still look in and still find out, okay, some words are still not easily seen. For example, there is substance use campaign, right? I mean, campaign against substance abuse that someone suggested, although it has been miniaturized into a smaller text now here, but it's also an important something. So it's when we look more closely into the word art, we can see all the keywords I was suggesting. Like I said, it's very diverse, ranging from skills to interest to capacity building and all. So I consider that because I think it's one of the key aspects that a lot of people just glossed over while reading the report, but it's very important. It is the suggestions, recommendations to where we can go from here, right? So that's why I decided to bring it right after the details, the respondents' characteristics. All right, so I'll move on now. Thank you all for the contribution. All right, so now, one of the things that was assessed in the survey was the member skills. Like I said, we were not trying to tell competency level. It was just about gathering data about what skills that people produce that people possess in the community. And that is just from this main logic that, okay, member skills tells us about the community strength. So how we are strong as the skills that we have here, right? So, and it can also tell us what skills that we think are important might be lacking in the community, so that we could we could fill such gaps. So that's why we conducted this, and close of 70% of the community, yes, signify that yes, they at least some extent they have either mastered or they are proficient in academic and technical writing. And well, like half of that, close to 50%, they can do creative writing. I found that very important. I found it interesting actually, because I wonder why people tend to downplay their ability when it comes to creative writing, because people could, I mean, if we have 70% of people signify that they could do academic and technical writing, but less than 40% says they could do creative writing. So that people think probably creative writing is from some unique set of people. That's one thing that struck me when I generated this something. But also, importantly, I appreciate the fact that about 40% of respondents says yes, they are the proficient in public speaking, and data analysis was a skill that was low. I mean, it was less than 30% of the community had that. Other skills were kind of, our key skills basically were academic writing, creative writing, public speaking, project management to an extent, and social management by a few. But one important one that I was expecting to see to be more prominent, but I didn't see, was research. So research was not speaked by a lot of people as the skills that they have. So, and I think it's one major gap, right? And the current ongoing building researchers program is very key in addressing. research is also a skill. Ability to read and write as a researcher, ability to do what researchers do, conduct and plan studies and all those stuff. So design studies and implement it, report it ethically and with enough technical accuracy to really contribute knowledge and or as is expected. So it's something that can be learned, but a lot of community members didn't pick that as a skill. So it represents a major gap. So in our community. All right, we'll still address this at the end. All right, so moving on, the next thing that was assessed was the skills and focus. Like what skills were people learning at that point in time, or they were planning to learn? And right after that is, okay, which of these skills do you think Biosphere could help you in learning or mastering? So I decided to match those responses together. Like, okay, let's map the skills that people want to learn and the skills that people are signifying that they need help with. So I decided to at least simplify those two responses with this figure, right? So to get the skills and try to map the two together. So from there, we're able to see that, okay, just like how we had a deficiency, like about 25% of the community had was proficient in the statistical data analysis. Now we have a significant number, probably the highest percentage of respondents that wants to learn statistical data analysis, which shows that people recognize that, and it's a very positive sign. What is close to it is bioinformatics, right? Which is also another analytical skills, another key technical bioscience skills. People are interested in learning that as well. So I believe these are skills, and a significant number of people who pick this also signifies that they would like some help. As you could see that close to about 30 to 40% of them would appreciate an assistance with that. Public speaking as well, a lot of people signify that they want help there as well. At least more than 20%, close to 30% of people wants that as well. Some people also chose graphing. Graphing was suggested by one of the co-founders that I should put it there. It's a present skills now that a lot of people don't focus on. We probably people that are in designing and all, but people can be specialized. They can be specialists in designing graphs, figures, icons for scientific use, basically, which are areas that are actually probably it's populated by only a few experts, right? And these are things that people in creative niche, people in design and all could actually venture into. So so this is one of those things. Ablafisa, I saw your comment, but we'll get to that, right? We'll get to that. So yeah, people didn't signify that they want to learn research. That's the interesting aspect of it. Yes. So that's why I said I don't know whether people recognize that research is a skill, it's not just a specialization of something. It's a skill. So, but we'll get to that at the end. So these are some of the skills. Basically, I think we have all seen this chart before, but it's just to bring the focus of the community members generally that, okay, these are the skills and focus of some of our members, and quite a number of them are popular, and people that want are learning them are interested in they are interested in assessments and things. I mean, learning aids can come in various types. So what are those various types of supports that people would appreciate? So we will also gather information about that as well. Okay, what are the kind of some learning support that people will appreciate? So based on the 4 options that was suggested, there was no new option that was added. So, and popularity of these learning aids or learning support that was suggested were picked, and a lot of people most people appreciated sharing links to courses and opportunities. And I think that's a very strong characteristic of our community. We share opportunities a lot, and it's very commendable. So a lot of people appreciate it. And as well, mentorship. Some people suggested that, okay, we could make individual or group mentorship and all, but mentorship was another popular one. So in-house training was also popular. I think the one that was that most people didn't show as much which is also very significant, but at least based on in comparison to other learning supports that was chosen by others, accountability partners and groups who had the least votes, right? So probably a lot of people like doing it on their own, but I think we still have a sizable number of people, more than 50% of respondents says that, okay, they will appreciate accountability partners. And I think I would recommend that if someone wants to, I mean, any skills, we can find partners in the community who are learning that skills as well, and we could team up to be each other's accountability partner to when learning such skills. I think it can definitely help. So these are ways that I think we can be more helpful in the community, and we have evidence of it from this study in our community that, okay, we can assist ourselves by sharing opportunities, by training ourselves, whether by experts in the house or by bringing external experts has been doing. And when these opportunities come, it's important that we take them, right? So why it's important that we take opportunities. So that's why we now look at participation. So how are we participating in the community? So participation, when from the study, like I say, a little bit disappointingly, which we all know that based on how we have been doing, participation has been suboptimal. And more importantly, what struck me is being possibly polarized. Polarized means that we have some set of people that are very diligent to Biosphere, and have another set of people that are very apathetic about the activity of the community. That's why we have this bimodal distribution. We have a peak around 25% of respondents, and we have another peak around 70% of attendance rates, right? So I think it was just the frequency polygon that could easily represents it, like how we had the different peaks, right? And it's dragged, so it puts our it could have, if not for people at this extreme end of regular attendance, probably the average attendance would have been close to 25%. I mean, 2 out of 8 meetings would have been the average attendance, but the average attendance rate in this from the survey was about 3 out of 8 meetings, which is 38%. And the spread, you can see from the interquartile rate was 25 to 75%, very wide. If we had that to either plus or minus from 38%, we could see how very imprecise that is, which means that our attendance can be zeroed to say that we have poor attendance. And based on the fact that the actual figure is actually the median is low and the quartile range is very wide. So participation has been suboptimal. So while we are asking for more support, more attention from the community, more areas to focus on, we as members need to come together, rally around the initiatives that you are suggesting, right? So that when it comes, it really can serve the purpose for which they are intended. So that's participation from the survey. It's review, and one thing we should also note is that this is even self-reported attendance rate, right? So if we are using the actual attendance rate, which would remove desirability bias and everything, use actual attendance rate, probably it will even show that it's even lesser than that. So this is a clarion call to you and myself that is let's be more mindful attendance, right? At least you can see that we attend less than 4 out of 8 meetings, basically, at the community. Although we have people that are very diligent, they attend close to 60, about 70% of the meetings, but we could rally around so that at least we could bring the average to at least 4 out of 8 meetings. That would be a significant progress at least from here, right? So we might not see a jump to 100%, but at least we could move the average attendance to at least 50%. That's 4 of 8 meetings. That would be very helpful. All right. So this is one technical aspect that I think should share it yet, because it's required that I actually learn some about it as well while conducting the study. Right, we saw that the attendance rate was low, and we could see that it wasn't a normal distribution. It was a bimodal distribution. So bimodal distribution do not do well when you attempt to model them with parametric scales, right? Like all these linear regression and linear regressions and all those stuff. Those are parametric tests. And so for skewed distribution or distribution that are non-normal bimodal distributions, so they might require some other statistical measures, the non-parametric ones, the Kuskawali's and all those stuff. So I decided to learn more. So the one regression methods that was there that we could use to at least predict, okay, that we could use to predict the differences in attendance behavior, right? That any of our inherent characteristics, is it predictive of what we saw? That could we say male are more likely to be the regular attendance than female, or females are more, or could we say local members are more likely to be the regular attendants than the local members, or like that? So tried to test that with the regression, whether they could pick, but none of the inherent characteristic, membership characteristic can be linked to that particularized behavior. So none of them was significant, although I highlighted that, okay, although the tenure category, the old member versus new member, had the lowest p-value, and we could see that the 95% confidence interval there was between -42 and 4.8. It was the one that at least the direction went more direct in the line of the negative. So it's something that probably when we have larger sample, maybe sample size, it could probably be significant based on what I suspected. But I say it's just of statistical interest. It could be that there is no effect, none of these things to actually predict attendance behavior like we have seen, or it might be that maybe as I see it, or it might be that with larger sample size, we might see a change. So, but this is just me just engineering us about more statistical literacy that we could all get. I mean, we could all endeavor to learn more about, right? So that's why I decided to share this aspect as well, that probably the feedback is something I could emphasize. Wealth. Please, you can.
Yeah, thank you, Ibrahim. I'm not sure I got what you were saying about the old members, but I also have maybe a question or a suggestion. I think maybe something we could have looked into, or maybe for next time, we could look into volunteering and participation, like this joining meetings, and whether or not the person is a volunteer.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So let me like, okay, if volunteers were more likely than ordinary members to attend meetings more regularly, right? That could be a more predictive variable, right? It could be a more predictive variable for that suggestion. So I will look if it's in future circumstance, yes, it's something we can consider, yes. It might be more predictive than these characteristics because none of these were actually working. And quantile regression allows us to even test not just only at the median level, you can even test at maybe the lowest quartile level, whether there was any significance, but throughout the spectrum of the changes in their median attendance of none of these factors could predict it. As category, then none of them could actually predict it. So that was it. So I remember in the study, I actually added just a single line because there was nothing to report from there. But in a feedback session like this, it's something we could mention. I can see that it's good that I raised it because now I got a new insight and of probably had made the reward. All right, thank you very much, Welt. So moving on, so we didn't just assess only participation in meetings. We also we didn't just attend only attendance. We also assessed, contextual participation, like how are people actually participating. So from one particular line that I think people didn't that didn't strike a lot of people when going through the reports. For people that have read it, is that although the other one didn't have a chart, but it was a single sentence there. About 92% of the respondents, of course, confirmed that they attended all sessions. They attended session. I mean, they attended at least one session in 2024, right? That means they attended as an audience. But when they were asked which of the role have they played, only 19% respondents gave a presentation in 2024, right? So presenter as a role. So you have three roles normally do. Either you're a moderator or you're part of the. So only 19% respondents actually shows that okay, they have presented within the year, right? And to further confirm that, so we assess the excitement level, let me say the enthusiasm about attending, about taking on this community. So about and as we delighted and who are feel more excited to take on the role as about 38% and those excited. So moderator, I can say part of the audience. So 67% yes are part of, are willing to, are very excited to be part of the audience. And only 14% wouldn't appreciate being part of the audience without being the presenter. As we can, and you can see that neutrality. This is one thing that I also struck me there is that neutrality about it. I mean, those in the gray area. As you can see that neutrality kind of decreased. Yes, neutrality also decreased as interest increased, right? So in the presenter role, we had 38%, in the moderator, we had 24%, and in the audience, 20%, which means that as more people tend to go in the line of, as more people are excited about the particular position, the people that are neutral about it also kind of reduce as well. So most people tend to like that. So it means that the higher even the highest neutrality, people will play neutral whether they are interested or not, or that we are just maybe are fairly excited. They are still largest among those for presenter roles, right? So we generally talks about that a lot of people for reasons, for many reasons that is personal to them. So they are not enthusiastic about the presenter role. So, and of course, that probably explains why we saw that only 19% of respondents gave in 2024. So, as I put here, we need more people to unmute. So unmute and share your thoughts, and even share their slides as well. So what I'm talking about is basically we need more people to take on the role of a presenter, right? So this is the evidence from our community that we are lacking in that aspect, and we should towards correcting such anomaly. Thank you. So we also tested enthusiasm for the community event types, the event types that we have in the community. We have various types of events. I mean, we have people blessed with good initiatives in this community. We have about close to 10 types of events, from anniversary, in-house training, quarterly review, article review, guest events, journal club, members presentations, open discussions, and also we had varieties of events that we normally have in this community. So try to test, okay, what is the excitement level? What enthusiasm do people show to this, and measure that on a Likert scale as well. Based on that, the four that I thought that had significant number of people shows that they are least excited about were the one that I calculated in this slide. So, and they include article review, guest events, journal club, and quarterly review. Although the larger majority of people actually were excited about them, but at least they had a significant proportion of people say that they are least excited about them. For example, article review, you could see that about 16% of old members were this kind of 9%, 10% scale to cut to bring those people least excited about an event. We could say that membership membership. Is there a difference in how new member and old member view, because at the new member could be if I just spatial assessment. So I use membership to rise preference for community event types here. So, but generally should more in journal club would member showed more party for article review, right? So hello, is am I audible?
Yes, please, go on.
Thank you very much. Sorry for that network glitch. So all right, so the information basically from this slide is that the community should at least maybe have a session where we explain why we do each of these kind of events so that people understand it and probably shape their perspective about it. That, okay, we want that. Like I think from that review, from the report, people who have read the report, a lot of people are excited about in-house training, anniversary events, and all, maybe members' presentation. When it came to these ones, probably like journal clubs, a lot of people might not know the reason why someone should even join a journal club. So we can have a session to explain the meaning and value of these different type of events in the community, right? All right, so yes, so now, so here is the question now. So which of the findings strikes you the most? Basically, so I've shared the findings and the context behind this, like I mean the insight I could relate it to, right? So we are ready for feedbacks right now. So let's talk. So all the questions that I've been asking, and I think there is a particular slide that I omitted by glitch, please. Sorry. This slide. So we also assess the barriers that people should report. What are the barriers they are facing towards participation, at least, because we anticipated that if participation would be an issue, then there has to be some barriers. So based on suggested ones, and people were also allowed to input those ones, and we analyzed that based on that. For example, gadget issues and internet and electricity issues were created after people inputted their reasons. Of course, it wasn't popular. It wasn't, didn't have a large percent, right? But at least it was captured when people entered that. We didn't put gadget issues there before. Some people reported faulty phones, like they are all the faulty devices like laptops and all those stuff that hampered their participation. So, but the majority of people like said work schedule, and I think this pertains to both graduate students and working class because that was close to 80% of the respondents. Time zone was reported by which I think time zone challenge would be basically attributed to global members, people that are joining from outside of Nigeria. But time management and inconveniences like clashing of events with things, having other things at that particular time of the meeting was also very significant. It was significantly reported as well. One barrier to participation here that I found very important, even though it looks simple, that's the low interest in a specific type of event. And I think it points to what we have been saying before. I mean, we have 20%, that's 1/5 of respondents. I like that, okay, one of their own barriers to participation is that they are not interested in some type of event. And I think it's reinforced what I suggested earlier, that probably should have a session where we make people understand the type of event and what they stand for, right? So some people talk about long absence barrier because based on my review of literature, one of the challenges to participation is absence barrier. Some people, when they step away for some time, coming back seems like arduous, like probably they feel they have missed out, probably they just continue ghosting, right? So some people have faced reappearance barriers, like how would they perceive me when I start just showing up after a long absence? So it's one of those things that has been reported to be barrier to participation in communities. So I try to put that as a variable, and close to 10% of people actually chose that as well. So it is also significant, even though compared to work schedule and time zone, which are more popular, these ones might be glossed over, but they are also important. About 1/10 of community members probably feel reappearance barriers, maybe the grudginess of reappearing after some disappearance is also affecting their participation. So low motivation and low interest look alike. So, but I think but it wasn't heavily reported here in the study. So passive lack of inclusion was not so reported. I think we are doing good. We are doing quite well in inclusion, or at least maybe some few percentage of people also suggested that as well. So these are the barriers, right? So the big question is, how do we surmount them? So we'll discuss that. So let's move to the discussion arena now. I'm ready. So let's bring it on. So which of the findings strikes you the most? And so let's talk about it. And what's the feedback about the survey? Who has gone through it? What did you see? And probably you see a lot of typos there as well, because my Grammarly stopped working at that point in time. So yeah, so let's just discuss basically on the findings, as well as citing suggestions, solutions about the points raised. Thank you very much. So let's have the Q&A. Abdulafiz, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you so much for
on.
thank you so much for the great work and the presentation of the finding. It was really insightful. It's more like, trying to, poke into the mind of the community members. Okay, poke into the mind of the community members and bring out all of their thoughts and everything in the mind. But I think I would like to start with the last slides. Which is the barrier? I mean, it's like those are the information from the horse's mouth, and I think it would really have been nice if the people that are highlighting or that are mentioning some of these barriers themselves could also, suggest what could be done or what they could have done to, surmount some of these barriers. So I don't know whether there was an additional question with respect to, okay, if you think this is what is preventing you from attending this session or this session, what do you think can be done? I don't know whether that was done, because I mean, I can suggest something now, but that would be from my perspective, which might not really resonate with some other people because they have a different barrier preventing them from attending the session. So if there wasn't, I think I would suggest that maybe a snippet of this particular slide could be shared on the group page, and the people that maybe mention some of the reason, some of these barrier could also mention exactly how they think some of these barriers could be surmounted by themselves if it's possible. Because honestly, this kind of discussion it had recorded, several times we've discussed it. What are the things that we can do to ensure that people participate efficiently? What are the things that the community can do? What activities can we come up with? It's been on for almost all of the time that we started this community. So, if you just keep, going around the circle by, suggesting things, it might not really resonate well with some of these individuals. And the interesting thing about it is that some of them will not even talk. Some you not even see them in this session. I mean, for instance, these sessions like this, people that do not participate will not even come to a session like this. So it's difficult to, to exactly know how things can be done better, because at some point you get to a point whereby you just feel like you're out of ideas. So I think it's better to just ask from the horse's mouth. Well, anonymous horse's mouth. Maybe that would help. Yeah, I think that's for me. One other thing that I saw, maybe I can discuss that with you later. The female male statistics, they do not add up to 100. I don't know whether you paid attention to it, or maybe you had others to make it
Yes,
100.
we
But
had.
yeah, we can.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Um, there, there are three to say. It's then the survey. It wasn't the for the slide. I focused on, so there are three people basically why it's not so that we don't into it for
Hello,
Anna
Ibrahim.
Yeah, I
the
think he's struggling with his network, but I would take the answer as yes, there are others. So yeah, I think I get the clarification now. Okay, it's gone.
hello.
Yeah, hello, we can hear you.
Hello. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for the insightful feedback. I started this session. I don't know if you are, I said the particular term I learned of late from one of the people I follow on LinkedIn. I mean, preaching to the choir. Preaching to the choir talks about when you tell people that are already doing well that they should keep on doing well, right? People that needs to do better are not even there, right? So there is a problem of misalignment of audience, right? People that needs to hear that admonition are not even there to start with. So people, when it comes to sharing perspective about barriers and all those stuff, people that probably need this intervention the most might not even be here to shift. So it's one of those things that we keep on navigating with. I don't think it's ever going away, right? But with the of how difficult it is, I think we keep on ideating and suggesting, right? Like I said, it's basically everyone at each point in time probably had some constraints as well, but ability to bounce back and reignite their passion for the community is what really is. And so I think we won't just get tired. That's what I will comment. And about the male-female ratio, right? Now, some respondents who chose in the agenda, who chose prefer not to say. And of course, they were not very much represented, so we couldn't even use them for the analysis other than the breakdown, respondent characteristics. It is there in the respondent characteristics. I didn't cut that out, right? So it is there in the main report. But for the study, well, at least about 98, maybe I think 98 or 99% of members, 98% of respondents were either male or female.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
You can speak.
Yes, I have another comment that I want to make. So
Yes.
just to corroborate the point that Worth mentioned earlier with respect to the participation rate of volunteers. just to have a link between volunteering and participation. I think it would also be nice if we can have an idea of the connection between being in journal clubs and participation, because I think one of the reasons why you would experience low participation in particular session is maybe the topic is not really within your field. But of course, that shouldn't be a main excuse, but it's a valid one, because when someone is presenting something that you think it's not really within your field, you might not want to, the participation might not be as interesting as possible as you'd want. So I think we should have a link between maybe people's interest with respect to the journal club participation as well as the main session, and maybe that could give us an idea of maybe we should have more of, I don't know, interest group discussion and then over time maybe have a rotation of representation of each of the journal clubs to come to the session, so that at least within the period of a cycle of all the journal clubs presenting, at least you have one participation for every individual. But of course, I'm just thinking about this in my head. I don't know how feasible it might be, but we might just look into it.
All right. Thank you very much. I think the administrators are also paying attention to that. But one thing why I include it, we are focusing on skills assessments and application. So, and it was meant to be focused on the general participation in all events, not focusing on any types. And the community already has data on area of interest of members that they collected when each member is joining the community. So if they can analyze that, they can get maybe the population or the frequency, yes, the interest, our proportion of interest that we have different areas from the interest that people submitted when they are joining the community. We can analyze that as well and get some insights. Yes, Welt, please, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Ibrahim, and well done again for your amazing work. I think basically I just wanted to corroborate what you said earlier about the fact that sometimes some of the individuals that actually need the information we are sharing in this session, they're probably not here now, and it's difficult to help them. But I just wanted to encourage, maybe if there are other individuals on this call that have been able to navigate any of the challenges highlighted, or that are still facing any of those challenges, they could share how they've managed to cope with the challenge. And because I know members that I've spoken with, and even if they're like very, very busy, there's still that conversation around, oh, I really want to attend, but I'm not able to attend because of XYZ. Some members just even reach out to you from nowhere and just say, oh, I'm sorry I've not been coming for session. It's because of XYZ. And then there are people who just turn to ghost, and then they don't join sessions for months. You don't hear from them. You don't even know what's up with them, but they are still members in quote and want to keep associating with the community. So I think I would just encourage, or would just love to hear from other persons on the call who have faced the same challenges, currently facing those challenges, and how have they managed to navigate those kind of challenges? Yeah.
Okay, while we're waiting for any responses, I would like to say some things. I think, yeah, I agree with what Ibrahim said in terms of being a situation of preaching to the choir. Well, the point I want to raise is there are two things I want to really point out. The first thing is, generally, there is this saying that a child should be active, that a child should be playful, should be exuberant, so that it will be easy to know when that child is sick. So a child that's always quiet now, it's very difficult for you to know if the child is sick. But a child that's always playful and acting, the day the child is quiet, you know that something is wrong. It's either that child is sick or is hungry or something is wrong somewhere. The reason I'm bringing this up is from the beginning of the community, I think one person I can easily give as an example now is Abdulafiz. From when this community started, I don't think I don't think there's ever been a time that Abdulafiz hasn't been busy with a lot of things. That's just one example. I don't want to call other names. I want to call Abdulafiz first. So, and apart from that, currently he's still in a country where the time zone is it's just like the opposite of what we are over here. But still, it makes time to do things. The reason I'm bringing this up is there are people that will tell you that they have time issues or they are busy or that. But the people that hold on to this excuse most are the people that you never seen any activity from the day they join the community. And you start wondering, okay, what was the initial motivation to come into the community? And you just come up empty. Because the reason I'm pointing out this, sometimes if we are reviewing list of inactive people for removal from the community, there are some people that even if they have not been active for 6 months, you can't remove them because you know how active they have been from when they joined. And you know that, okay, at this time, they are not free. Sometimes at random, they may even reach out to you, they'll be like, oh, it's been a while, I've not been able to join all that. I really want to share this. It's on the record, so let me just say it so that we all know what we are facing. There are people who have removed from the community, and some reached out blatantly saying that they were removed, and they want to know why they were removed, and they want to even know what the community was about, because obviously they didn't even know they were still in the community. So it's more like you are trying to eat, you are eating, and you say that your soup is full of fish, whereas there is no fish there. So that's just what I want to add, that I think it's important for you to be active so that when you are not active, we know that something is wrong. So that's my point. Let me not talk too much.
Thank you very much, Martin. I think that was a very honest contribution. Hello, is am I audible, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, yes. Thank you very much for that very honest contribution. Because basically, like I mentioned, I've been in the position of where I was away for a long time as well myself. Especially when I went for during my service year, I was I was posted to a pharmaceutical company, and my boss also has a community pharmacy, and so they told me that it's an opportunity to earn double money. So I'll work in the morning and be in the community pharmacy in the evening, and basically nights are the rush hour in community pharmacies. So I was basically unavailable to attend. Sometimes I also go to work on Saturdays too. So Wednesdays and Saturdays were significantly impacted, unless on few days that I could just, even if I put on my join the session, I wouldn't be able to come there to contribute. So those kinds of constraints. But the thing is, what changes that, okay, when you are free, do you contribute? Do you join? And you make your presence known, basically. I think that's what appeals to the leniency that Martin is pointing towards. Basically, so constraints is not about the issue of having 8/8 like the like of Nasiruddin and Hafiz, or like Wealth, very diligent members that probably got our average participant average participation rates upward. All right, but at least when we are free, let's be known that yes, this person actually has the interests of the community at heart. So it really helps. So Martin has really hit on a very good and important point, and that's very practical. That's very practical. Let's really let's make that personal resolve. Let's make that personal resolve. Thank you. So I wasn't an exhaustive list actually. Okay, and of course Martin, Martin, yeah, of course the co-founders have been very much diligent and I know that's one of the issue anyway. It gets overlooked. It is I don't know if it is tempting to overlook the work of the co-founders because they expect that okay, as co-founders they should be there, but it takes a lot of effort for them to be present as well. So yes, of course. My mentioning Nasruddin Hafiz was not to was not to belittle any other very diligent members. Basically, it wasn't an exhaustive list, right? Yeah. So you guys can take your flowers.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. So yeah, while we are still waiting, I know Ibrahim has done a lot. I don't even need to say it because the proof is in the pudding. And I just want to quickly say this is a discussion. He has done his part. We need to do our own part. Unless we are saying that those of us that are here, we didn't fill the survey. It was filled by other people. So let us know. And this is a test of what was that new test? What was that test online that they called what was it called? Human, to check if you are human. Click on this or check pictures. So
Recapture. Recapture. This is a recapture.
Yes, this is a capture test so that we know that it's not AI that have done in this session. Please, if you're a human, either you comment on the chat box. If it's just simple, thank you, Ibrahim. It was a nice presentation. Thank you, read the report. Just do something. Let us know that you are active. Yes, thank you very much.
All right. Yes, okay. And as you didn't watch was some challenge, okay. Network provider issues, glorious challenge. Okay, okay, Favor said mine is mostly due to work schedule. Make sure join in most of the time. Even though I may not stay till the end of the session sometimes. Other factors will be power and internet issues, but that really happens. Yeah, of course, from this we could see that gadgets and internet and everything was not reported by most people. So at least it was only a sizable number of respondents had that kind of issue. So mostly it's about time management for a lot of people, because I can see time zone and time management was very significant. Right, even work schedule is a function of time issue as well, timing issue as well. But as it has been said, the practical thing is that even when you have constraints, it's good to show that okay, you actually have the interests of the community at heart, basically. And it also starts from having this giving mindset from enjoying the community. I think one thing I wanted to add while doing the presentation was that when we see the fact that okay, we are also contributing and we are also learning as well, we don't tend to stay far away for too long, because we could see that okay, I must have missed out on some things that people are sharing, or my contribution would what I'm giving would have been the gaps. The gaps that have been covering will now be more exposed. Basically, if I have a giver mindset, that could even help. So it starts from the motivation, right? Like so, let's members now. People, once you are in the community, basically there was something that interested you when you joined the community. Some people, when they saw Biosphere, probably they thought it is a community where people collaborate to write papers. But some people are trying to apply to graduate schools, and they saw Biosphere is calling for bioscientists and something. Probably okay, now maybe I didn't just show we can start getting collaborators to write papers together and all those things. But basically, it's about training your scientific mind in an all-rounder way, not just finding collaborators. You can also do that when you have people with margin interest. But basically, if you don't keep science talks, yeah, we don't keep talking about science, it dies off, and basically only the niche, the creme de la creme of people will be pursuing science and graduate school. So the essence of it is having a place where we keep on learning, even both actively or passively. If you have not read the paper, someone has read and they are sharing with you. So Biosphere is more than a place where you just collaborate to write papers only. So basically, it's more about keeping science alive. So and you when you come in, you also want to contribute your own perspective. That's why when members come in, we like to ask what's their research area, because we expect you to be our window into that area of science, right? Like we have I think Esther Adepoju, who always tells about the environment. Basically, I think the latest development in environmental research, I'm not usually concerned. I'm not usually concerned until when she starts talking about, I feel like, okay, this is one aspect that I don't think I don't pay more attention to ecological health and all those stuff. I don't, but it's something that is really very critical, right? When we're talking about sustainability and everything. But if you are just someone who is into drug discovery, probably might not be thinking of the environment like that. But it's also a key aspect of our research, of the research of the bioscience world. So basically, this is where we consolidate knowledge. We grow both depth and the breadth, right? So let's have that positive attitude towards the community. It starts from willingness to contribute and seeing the community as a place to really develop. So it helps. So once we start with a why, like they say, begin with a why. Like, why are you joining? Once we always remind ourselves the why, we're able to find the motivation to come back, even when we hit some rocks in our participation. Thank you. I've been losing track of the. I've been lost. Okay, Martin has mentioned that even the collaboration aspect can be a nightmare. I think we tried the community-wide writing collaboration once. Yes, it was only a few people that still turned up, right? Yes, that's true. Basically, the thing is,
Yeah, I think when we did
um,
that, we had a form for people to indicate interest, and then people were paired based on research interests, and they had a different WhatsApp group. We had a collective deadline to work towards. Well, but anytime you do check up, or group leaders keep reaching out to you, that people in the group they ghosted them and all that. So that's a whole lot of story.
so basically, so like I said, it starts from that why, because when we define different means, which how do I put it? When people with challenge with motivation or interest in the community, when we keep on defining different strategies to get them engaged, it might actually fall on deaf ears, right? So yeah, but at least we keep on trying. Abdulhafiz, please, you have the floor.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much. Um, I've made this suggestion in the past. I don't know whether we might just have to consider it or not now. I think part of what we should do is to, create like a checklist of the different activities that individuals have to pass before they advance to the, before at the end of the year, before they advance to the following year as members. Something like a subscription list. I mentioned it in the past. I don't know how feasible that could also be, because when you know that you have a number of things to meet as members before you can advance to be members in the following years, you would be conscious of being part of it. So I think, I mean, if that is done, it will even be justified by the time people are struck out of the group. I mean, for someone to be messaging Martin at the end of the after they are removed from the session, asking why they were removed and things like that, that kind of thing will not happen if you know that, okay, there is a minimum requirement that you have to meet before you continue your membership after a particular year. I don't know what year you want to do, whether it's the annual year or whatever pattern that we choose to go by. So maybe that's the way to go, honestly, because if you entrench this consciousness into people that you need to meet a particular number of things before you can continue your membership as with the community, maybe that would improve membership or improve participation in some of these activities that we do, maybe. Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abdulhafiz. I think it was a wonderful suggestion, actually. And and I think the co-founders will consider that, right? They will consider that. I mean, feasible metrics can be met. It's a nice suggestion. All right. Do you have any other comments? Almost 9:30. Yeah. For me, the people yes. Yeah, it is. Definitely, we all understand that it will be very challenging. But one thing is that we all like you said, people with it is amazing that people with very significant constraints still make time, right? That when they have loads of work, still have huge commitments and all, and probably even in different time zones than the local time for meetings, they still try to make time. And people who had even the luxury have more significant excuse. So it could be it's such a stark reality sometimes, but we have to contend with that. So why now asking the reason for your removal when you be starting inactive? Basically, I mean, should be expected. Such people don't even know how to get back. That's what I'm trying to say. They know they've been in the house for a long time and they don't even know when they in fact when the announcement is being made that they might start removing people, they didn't know, they were not even aware in the first place. So this is that's people that probably need it are probably not here, but at least preaching to the choir might still be important so that the good people know that they are acknowledged and they have opportunity to also communicate with people that needs to hear it. That needs to hear it. So they could also sound as um the messenger to those people. All right. Please, I think the attendance link has been shared. Um, Nasilina has shared the attendance link. Please kindly fill it and any of the founders has and does any of them have any announcements to give? It's now 9:30.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim. No announcements. We can close.
All right.
Thank you.
So finally, we move to the last slide. Thank you slide. So it's been a wonderful time discussing the community, right? Like I said, it's all about us and how we can move from where we are presently to where we want to go. And I think we've all at least renewed our interest and reignited our passion. So without doing further, aspire to Maguire. So I would like to wish everybody a nice time. If you're in the day where you are, please have a nice day. And if you're in the night, I wish you a lovely night rest. So thank you all for coming. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night, everyone. And have a nice day, Abdulhafiz and Australian folks.
The Australians can have a nice day.